Welcome back. Tonight, Aldi has confirmed it's opening a new store in downtown St. Paul. The store will take over the space that Lunds & Byerly's left last March, citing staffing challenges, declining store visits, and increased security costs. That departure left downtown St. Paul without a grocery store. President of St. Paul's Downtown Alliance says he's glad to see Aldi coming in.
Having a grocery store is just an essential bit of infrastructure. It's something that you need, obviously, to support residents and residential growth, but you also need it for visitors and for workers.
Aldi says the store is expected to open by the end of the summer. Remember this guy? He's a young Timberwolves fan from Michigan. Luka, 7-year-old battling leukemia, got to meet Anthony Edwards a few times last year and gave him an orange wristband. Ant promised to wear the rest of his career. Well, today we have some good news to share. Luka's family says he's now cancer-free. They posted an update last week inviting people to celebrate with their family and to see Luka ring the bell. Congrats, Luka. And check this out. Ant is proving that he's a man of his word, still wearing Luka's wristband at the games. Great to see. New data obtained by KARE 11 sheds new light on the explosion of ice removal flights from Minnesota during the peak of Metro surge. KARE 11 Investigates has been tracking flights from MSP and has the latest on what's happening right now. Here's Lauren Lemanchek.
For 6 weeks, nearly every day, planes departed from MSP, carrying shackled people who just hours earlier had been free. Thi Dua Vang, who as she walked across the frozen tarmac, thought in her native Hmong, "I'm worried that if I'm the only one that goes, my kids will still be in this country." These rapid removals have been a key feature of a mass deportation effort, a conveyor belt of humans from Minnesota to Texas.
There is a flight taking off out of Texas.
That plane en route to MSP for another pickup. KARE 11 has worked with our partners at 9 News in Denver to track ICE flights nationwide. And at MSP, we found exponential growth over the last year. Look, in all of January 2025, just 2 ICE flights out of MSP. By September and October, 13 flights a month. Then, in January 2026, at the peak of Operation Metro Surge, 46 ICE flights departed MSP. In February, 20 so far, the numbers slowing sharply as Metro Surge ends.
So how much does all of this cost? We checked government records and found the Department of Homeland Security uses a contractor nationally to run ICE flights called CSI Aviation.
Records show they've been paid $668 million by DHS just this fiscal year. They then subcontract to smaller airlines, like these, who run the flights out of MSP. At the airport, we met local trackers like Lynn Forder documenting the process.
We're at 8 so far.
Who estimate nearly 3,000 people have been flown out in the last 2 months.
We're trying to get a count because there's no transparency.
The vast majority bound for El Paso, home to a massive adult detention camp in the desert.
We are proud of the public safety threats we have removed from the criminal aliens out of the state.
It's unclear how many detainees flown to Texas have criminal records. Corrections officials say more than 200 were picked up directly from state or federal prisons. But judges have ordered hundreds of others be released and returned to Minnesota because they have no criminal history.
It's just mind-boggling to me, the human cost of this all.
Attorney Brian Plaster represents several clients who've boarded these planes and contends the flights across the country are designed to make it harder for migrants to fight deportation by removing access to family and lawyers here.
The goal is to make this happen as quickly as possible. And I think by making it happen as quickly as possible, the chaos follows.
Chaos, like the case of Oscar, a young man who filed this statement in court. He was arrested on January 10th and flown to Texas the next day, writing there were around 120 detainees on the plane. I remained in chains the whole plane ride. His journey highlights how people arrested by ICE are moved across the country. First, from Minnesota to El Paso. A judge then ordered Oscar returned to Minnesota on January 17th, but instead he was brought to another jail in New Mexico, then back to Texas. Finally, on January 28th, 18 days after his arrest and a week and a half after a judge ordered his return, Oscar was flown first to Denver, then back to Minneapolis.
Put into shackles, hustled onto airplanes, and flown off to destinations unknown.
Earlier this month, Judge Nancy Brazel ordered that ICE now wait 72 hours before flying a person to Texas to avoid just that sort of issue. Now, I did send multiple email requests to both DHS and ICE for comment. They did not respond. But in past statements, they have defended their efforts, saying their goal is to remove criminals from Minnesota. For KARE 11 Investigates, I'm Lauren Lemanchek.
Stick with us. We got more news and weather coming up after the break.